Last part of lesson 1. New York City regulations. Anti-corruption warning. All inspectors have Department of Health and Mental Hygiene badges and identification cards that they must display whenever it is requested of them. It is illegal to offer an inspector a bribe, gratuity, or reward for official misconduct. Doing so can result in fines and a revocation of permits. Inspectors are not authorized to conduct any monetary transactions on behalf of the Department of Health. Please don't bribe the inspector, and if you're an inspector, you cannot collect money. That is against the law. Inspector General. This office within the Department of Health has the responsibility of investigating any incidents of alleged corrupt activity. Investigations are conducted as a result of complaints made by employees of the department or members of the public. All right, so if there is any corruption, the Inspector General will do the investigation. Health Academy. The Health Academy within the Division of Environmental Health provides training and certification courses for the public as mandated by the Health Code, such as this food protection course. Okay, so it's run by the Health Academy. This course is required by the Health Code for supervisors of food service establishments and non-retail food processing establishments. Individuals must take the course and pass an examination before certification is issued. A person holding such a certificate must be on the premises and supervise all food preparation activities during all hours of operation. Several supervisors with this certification may be needed at an establishment to have coverage during all shifts, vacations, or illnesses. The Food Protection Manual has been designed to assist participants taking the course to better understand the principles of safe food handling and as a reference for food service operators. It also includes the necessary information to pass the final examination. In compliance with Code 1043B of the New York City Charter, called the Charter, and pursuant to the authority granted to the Board of Health by Code 558 of said charter, a notice of intention to amend Article 81, Food Preparation and Food Establishments of the New York City Health Code, the Health Code, and notice of public hearing was published in the City Record on December 22nd, 2009, and a public hearing was held on February 5th, 2010. 18 persons testified and 30 written comments were submitted. At its meeting on March 16, 2010, the Board of Health adopted the following resolution. So they voted on this. Letter grading for sanitary inspections. What it means for restaurants and consumers. Well, starting in July 2010, New York City is requiring certain food service establishments to post letter grades that correspond to their sanitary inspection scores. These questions and answers summarize the grading program. Okay, overview. Why is the health department issuing letter grades to restaurants? Here we're going to address the series of questions about this health department and sanitation codes. Okay, well, the health department is issuing restaurant letter grades to help consumers make informed choices about where to eat out. Consumer awareness creates a powerful new incentive for restaurants to maintain the highest food safety standards. Which establishments are graded? Some food service establishments that require health department permits will receive and post letter grades that correspond to their sanitary inspection scores. These establishments include most restaurants, coffee shops, bars, nightclubs, cafeterias, retail bakeries, and fixed-site food stands. This document uses the term restaurants to refer to all these establishments. Which establishments are not graded? Letter grades are not being issued to mobile food vending units like food truck, temporary food service establishments, food service establishments operated by primary or secondary schools, hospital-operated cafeterias, correctional facilities, jail, charitable organizations, including soup kitchens or other prepared food distribution programs, or food service establishments operated by not-for-profit membership organizations which serve food only to their members. What are the grades and what do they mean? That is a very good question. Grades reflect how well a restaurant complies with the food safety requirements of the New York City Health Code and the State Sanitary Code. When inspectors examine a restaurant's sanitary conditions and practices, they assign numerical points for different violations of the health code. Different violations carry different numbers of points depending on their nature and severity. The total number of violation points provides a measure of the restaurant's general condition. Under the new system, the health department will use the scores from certain inspections to generate letter grades that are easier to interpret. Here are the grades. You get an A. 0 to 13 points for sanitary violation. You get a B. 14 to 27 points for sanitary violations. You get a C. 28 or more points for sanitary violations. Grade pending. A restaurant's B or C grade is not final until the restaurant has had the opportunity to go before the health department's administrative tribunal to contest the violation cited against it. So that means you get a second chance. After you go to the tribunal, you can contest. Until then, the restaurant has the option to post either the preliminary grade or a card that says grade pending. So you can post that grade pending card if you're given a B or C. All right, until you get to the tribunal. Once the grade is final, the restaurant must immediately post the letter grade card and take down the grade pending card. All right, so you got to take that pending card once you get a final grade. How should consumers interpret grades B or C? That's a good question. In the first year or so of grading, we expect that most restaurants will earn a B grade. Restaurants with B or C grades should improve their overall food safety practices. Yes, they should. But the health department immediately closes restaurants with conditions that may be hazardous to public health. Yes, so they'll shut you down if it's hazardous to health. Where can I search for restaurants or learn more about a restaurant's inspection history? Well, you can visit NewYorkCity.gov health restaurants to see inspection details and to search for restaurants by grade, neighborhood, cuisine, and more. Next question. Will all restaurants have a grade when letter grading begins in July 2010? No. It will take a little over a year to grade all of the city's existing restaurants. Well, because there's 1 million restaurants. New restaurants are not graded until they have been open for a few weeks. Give you a break there. How did the health department respond to comments from the restaurant industry and consumers when designing the grading initiative? Well, hundreds of New Yorkers offered comments while the grading initiative was being developed. The general public was overwhelmingly supportive, but some restaurant operators oppose to the grading system. Industry representatives stress the need to ensure that grades would be assigned fairly, that restaurants would have opportunities to improve their grades, so they got a chance to improve their grades, and that grades would reflect only those conditions relevant to food safety. The health department addressed these concerns by designing a program that gives restaurants an automatic second chance. See, you get a second chance to improve their scores after an initial inspection, as well as an opportunity for outside review of the inspection results. The agency also updated the inspection violation list so that restaurants are graded only for violations that affect food safety. Okay, so the other stuff about it being fancy and that didn't count. As long as it was food safety, that's what they're grading it on. These changes are intended to make the system as fair as possible for restaurant operators while protecting restaurant customers. All right, you get a fair chance. Has the inspection process changed with grading? No. The health department has not changed the way it conducts inspections. The inspector still examines the establishment's sanitary conditions and then gives the operator a printed report listing the violations observed, the points for each violation, and the total number of points. Okay, so they ain't changed how they grade. Have there been any changes made to the violations? Yes, there's been changes made to violations. The health department has made some changes. The updated violation list defines the violations that the letter grades are based on, and it specifies the number of points assigned to each violation depending on the extent or severity of the condition cited. A guide to condition levels describes the severity of each violation and provides examples. A description of the changes made to the checklist and condition levels is set out in the final rule. Documents are available at newyorkcity.gov health or by calling 311. The inspection. Which inspections result in a grade? Well, the health department conducts several types of inspections to monitor sanitary conditions. Only some of these inspections result in a grade. Okay. Inspection of new restaurants. The inspection conducted before a restaurant opens for the health department to determine whether to issue a permit is not graded. Once a restaurant is permitted to open and shortly after it has begun operating, the health department will conduct grading inspections. That makes sense. It's not open, you don't know. Initial inspection. Every restaurant is scheduled for an unannounced inspection at least once a year. Okay, so they'll come around once a year by surprise. A restaurant that scores 0 to 13 violation points on this inspection, called the initial inspection, receives an A grade. Remember, A is 0 to 13, B 14 to 27, C 28 plus. Reinspection. A restaurant that does not receive an A on its initial inspection does not receive a grade until it receives a reinspection. Okay, so you get a reinspection before you get a grade. The reinspection will occur at least a week after the initial inspection, giving the restaurant a chance to improve its sanitary conditions. All right, so you get a chance. You get a reinspection before you get that final grade. At the end of the reinspection, the restaurant will receive a grade card. If the grade is an A, the card must be posted immediately. If the grade is B or C, now if you get a B or C on every inspection, the restaurant will also receive a card that says grade pending. The restaurant has the choice of immediately posting either the grade card or the grade pending card until it has a chance to be heard at the health department's administrative tribunal. Compliant-based inspection. If the health department conducts an inspection after receiving a compliant, it may choose to make that compliant inspection an initial or reinspection and therefore subject to grading. Compliance inspection. A restaurant that receives 28 or more points on a reinspection will receive a compliance inspection roughly 30 days after the reinspection. The department will continue to conduct compliance inspections roughly every 30 days until the restaurant scores under 28 points or is closed by the department. The compliance inspections will not be graded. Dad, y'all must have had rats and roaches flying over the place at that point. Once the final grade is posted, when is a restaurant's next chance for a new grade? Well, how often a restaurant will be inspected and how soon it will be regraded depend on the restaurant's sanitary score. That sanitary score determines regrading. Higher scoring restaurants are inspected more frequently than lower scoring restaurants. The higher your score, the worse the sanitation. The lower your score, the better your sanitation. A restaurant that scores 0 to 13 points on its initial inspection receives an A and will not be inspected again for about a year. A restaurant that scores 14 to 27 points on either its initial or re-inspection, but not more than 28 points, receives its next initial inspection about 5 to 7 months after the re-inspection. A restaurant that scores 28 or more points on its initial or re-inspection receives its next initial inspection about 3 to 5 months after its inspection cycle ends. The inspection cycle ends when the restaurant scores below 28 points on a compliance inspection. Okay, so the better your scores, the less frequently they'll do the re-inspection. The lower your score, the less frequently they'll do the re-inspection. Now, posting the grade cards. Where does the restaurant have to post the grade card? The grade or grade pending card must be posted on a front window, door, or outside wall where it is easily seen by people passing by. The card must be within 5 feet of the entrance and from 4 to 6 feet off the ground or floor. Is there a penalty for not posting a current grade card? Hell yes. The health department will issue a notice of violation to any restaurant that fails to post the required grade or grade pending card or fails to post it in the required location. These may result in substantial fines. What happens if a grade card is lost or damaged? You didn't reluctantly do that, did you? Once a grade card or grade pending card must be posted, the restaurant must display it at all times. If a grade card is damaged or lost, the restaurant owner can pick up a replacement card at the health department's Bureau of Food Safety and Community Sanitation on 253 Broadway, 12th floor in Manhattan. Does the health department track each grade card? Absolutely, yes. The health department carefully tracks each grade card. A serial number printed on the card is traceable. Okay, cards have a serial number and is traceable to the restaurant and the inspector who assigns it. Posting an incorrect grade card, whether the wrong grade or a card assigned to another restaurant, is a serious violation that may result in penalties and suspensions of a restaurant's permit, okay? So please don't switch up cards or put up the wrong card. You will get in trouble. And remember, that serial number tracks the restaurant and the inspector that inspected it. Okay, what should the restaurant do with its out-of-date grade card or grade pending card? A card that is no longer current must be destroyed. Okay, you have to throw it out. You can't alter it, change it, or leave it up there, or you'll be in violation of sanitation code. Closures, the subject of closures. Does grading change the procedures for closing restaurants? Absolutely not. The health department continues to close establishments if it finds serious and persistent violations or an uncorrected public health hazard. Okay. What happens to a grade if the health department closes the restaurant? Well, if the health department closes a restaurant, it removes the grade card, takes the grade card down, and posts a closure sign. If the closure occurs on an initial inspection, the restaurant has to post a grade pending card once it's authorized to reopen. If the closure occurs on a re-inspection, not initial, but a re-inspection, the restaurant has the choice of posting its re-inspection grade or grade pending card when it reopens. If the closing occurs on a compliance, grade C, compliance inspection, once it's authorized to reopen, the restaurant has to repost the grade card that had been posted before the restaurant was closed. Oh, Lord. So you got to wait for another inspection to get a good grade. Okay. Yeah. Administrative tribunal hearings. Can restaurants contest violations at the administrative tribunal? Yes. A restaurant can contest violations cited on a notice of violation at the administrative tribunal. The health department automatically schedules a tribunal hearing date at the end of each inspection where a notice of violation is issued and notifies the restaurant of the hearing date. If the tribunal hearing examiner dismisses a violation, does the restaurant grade change? If the hearing examiner dismisses a violation, the inspection score is recalculated. If the new score corresponds to a different grade, the restaurant will receive a new grade card, which must be posted immediately. If the recalculated score does not change the grade, the establishment must immediately post the grade card it received at the reinspection. Okay? If the tribunal decision changes a restaurant's grade, does it change the inspection schedule? Absolutely not. What if the restaurant can't attend the hearing or wants the inspector present for the hearing? Okay, here it is. If the restaurant postpones its first hearing date, asks for an adjournment, or requests the inspector's attendance and the health department is unable to accommodate the request, a second hearing date is set. But that is the only condition the second hearing date is set. While waiting for the second hearing, the restaurant can post either the grade card or the grade pending card. Okay, so this is telling you how you can get it saved. What if the restaurant can't attend the second hearing date? If a restaurant's operator or representative does not attend the hearing on the second date or at the second hearing date asks for the first time for the inspector to be present, the hearing will be rescheduled. But the restaurant can no longer post the grade pending card. Daggone it. It must immediately post the grade card it received at the reinspection and discard the grade pending card. So if you got to see, you got to put it back up there. If the health department or hearing examiner, rather than the restaurant, adjourns a hearing date for any reason, including to request the inspector's testimony, then the adjournment will not count as one of the restaurant's two opportunities for a hearing before having to post its grade. When does the restaurant post its grade card if the hearing examiner's decision is sent by mail? Well, in certain circumstances, the restaurant will receive the hearing examiner's decision by mail. If the mail decision results in a new grade card will be included with the decision, and the restaurant must post it immediately after receiving it. If the decision does not result in a new grade immediately after receiving the decision, the restaurant must post the grade card it received at the reinspection. Does a restaurant have to appear at the automatically scheduled hearing at the administrative tribunal? Well, no. The tribunal now offers restaurants the opportunity to settle and pay a discount on the fines for the notices of violation. Settlement can be done online, by mail, or at the tribunal. Information about settlement is included within the notice of violation. When does the restaurant post its grade card if it settles the notice of violation? If a restaurant settles the notice of violation, it must immediately post a grade card issued during the reinspection. Last but not least, improving the grade. Last question. How can a restaurant improve its grade? Here are some steps that a restaurant can take. Correct violations cited during an inspection. Train supervisors to regularly evaluate the establishment's condition and employee practices. Make sure food workers are supervised by someone with a food protection certificate. Train all employees who handle food and food protection. Employees can study the health department's food protection course at no cost by visiting newyorkcity.gov/health. They can also enroll in the food protection course or the more advanced quality improvement food protection course offered by the agency's Health Academy. Read food protection fact sheets and booklets available free of charge and in several languages at newyorkcity.gov/health. Use the self-inspection worksheet, similar to the violation list used by inspectors to conduct weekly self-inspections and uncover areas in need of improvement. The worksheet is available at no cost at newyorkcity.gov/health. To avoid lapses in food safety handling, review the guide to condition levels available at newyorkcity.gov/health and include examples of how violations are cited. You have completed this lesson. Now you may go to the quiz.